My name is Elijah Barnes, I am 70 years old, and for most of my life I believed I had built a stable, respected, and unbreakable life. I started from nothing, just a broken truck and hard work, and over decades I built a logistics empire with hundreds of vehicles, warehouses, and contracts across the state. I thought my real success was not money, but my family. My wife Bethany Barnes, whom I had been married to for 40 years, stood beside me through every struggle and success. My son Terrence Barnes was my pride, and when he married Madison, I believed I was stepping into a peaceful, happy new chapter of life. I even gave them a lake house worth $500,000 as a wedding gift, thinking I was securing their future and keeping the family strong. But everything changed 2 days after I wrote an $80,000 check for the wedding. I received a call from the restaurant manager, Antonio, whose voice was shaking as he told me not to put the call on speaker and to come alone immediately. He said they had reviewed security footage from the VIP suite after the wedding, and what they found involved my wife and daughter-in-law. Something about his tone made my stomach drop instantly. I left my house pretending to go to the pharmacy, while Bethany stood behind me calm and smiling, but something in her eyes felt slightly different that day. When I reached the venue, Antonio took me to a security room and played the footage that destroyed my entire world. The video showed Bethany and Madison together in the VIP suite after everyone had left. They were not distant or awkward like they acted in public, instead, they were comfortable, laughing, and speaking like partners. They poured champagne and toasted to me, but not in a loving way. They mocked me, calling me names and talking about me like I was just a source of money. They discussed selling the lake house I had gifted and using it for financial gain. They even spoke about a family trust one had created years ago, revealing details only Bethany and I should have known. Madison admitted she was carrying a child that was not Terrence's, yet they planned to let him believe it was his so they could access the trust money once the child was born. Then the situation became darker. Bethany spoke calmly about my health, revealing that she had been slowly interfering with my heart medication over time, making it appear like natural heart failure. She described it as a gradual process that would not raise suspicion, as if she had already accepted the idea of my death as part of a plan. Madison laughed about how easily Terrence could be manipulated, while Bethany said once I was gone, everything would fall into place and the family wealth would belong to them. When the video ended, I sat in silence, realizing my entire life had been a carefully built lie. Antonio told me he didn't know what to do except warn me, because going to the police immediately could allow powerful lawyers to dismiss everything as fake or manipulated. I left the building holding the flash drive like it was the only proof of reality I had left. On the drive home, instead of breaking down, something inside me changed. The shock turned into something colder and more controlled. I realized confronting them directly would only give them power to label me unstable and take control of everything I had built. So I made a different decision. I would not react emotionally. I would act normal. I contacted my legal strategist, Sterling, and activated a hidden emergency protocol that quietly froze key financial structures connected to my empire. No alarms, no visibility, no warning. Then I returned home and acted as if nothing had changed. Bethany greeted me with the same gentle smile, offering me a smoothie like always, but now I saw every gesture differently. I accepted it without showing fear, not because I trusted her, but because I needed her to believe I still did. That night, I understood the truth completely. This was not just betrayal, it was a planned takeover of my life, my wealth, and even my existence. My wife and daughter-in-law were not acting out of emotion, but calculation. My son was being used as a tool without knowing it. Everything I believed about my family was a performance built over years. But instead of destroying me, the truth made me sharper. I was no longer the trusting husband or father, I was a man in a silent war inside his own home. And now, I was no longer planning to survive them. I was planning to stop them completely. The story of Elijah Barnes carries a powerful reminder that trust, once broken, can change the way we see even the closest people in our lives. It shows how important it is to pay attention not only to words, but also to patterns of behavior over time, because sometimes betrayal doesn't come suddenly, it is built slowly, hidden behind familiarity and routine. It also highlights the danger of ignoring small inconsistencies in relationships, especially when money, control, or inheritance is involved, because greed can sometimes disguise itself as love or care. At the same time, the story reminds us that emotional shock can cloud judgment, and reacting impulsively in such situations can sometimes make things worse instead of solving the problem. The moral lesson here is that true awareness and patience are stronger than anger. When faced with betrayal or manipulation, the most powerful response is not immediate revenge, but clarity, strategy, and control. It also teaches that blind trust, even in family, can sometimes become a weakness if we stop observing reality critically. People should value relationships, but also protect themselves with awareness and truth. Advice: never ignore red flags in relationships, especially when financial decisions or personal well-being are involved. Always verify important matters calmly before reacting emotionally. In difficult situations, patience and careful thinking can protect you far more than anger or revenge ever can. And most importantly, keep your independence, emotionally, financially, and mentally, so no one can easily take advantage of your trust. Question for you: if you were in Elijah's place and discovered such a deep betrayal, would you confront the people immediately, or would you wait, plan, and respond strategically like he did?